My name is Gillian Lindquist. I'm the Executive Director of Restorative Justice Victoria, and I'm also really grateful to be on the board of RJABC. And I've been on the board since the inaugural AGM in, I think it was 2019 now, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I always had trouble with rules and authority, and I grew up in a very religious home where there's a lot of rules. And I think I just was a person that, like, if there were rules and they weren't rooted in relationship or well explained or supported, I just felt the need to resist them and push back. That, I think there's always been this thread in my life of needing something that was more collective and relational. And when I learned about restorative justice, it really spoke to that for me. And then, of course, the early days of restorative justice for me, I mean, it's a practice and it's something that builds over time. It really spoke to me, but over the years, it's just continued to sort of develop and flourish. And so it continues to speak to me in new ways all the time, right? Especially as we're starting to bring in other things like anti-oppressive practice and decolonization and all these other things that actually also speak to that same thing that was missing for me. So it's building on itself in so many good ways. So in my restorative justice work, I work for an organization that does a real wide range of types of cases. We've been really conscious about making sure that our program is accessible to everybody in our community. So we don't just get referrals from the criminal justice system. We also get referrals from the community. So people who want to deal with something outside of those structures can still access restorative justice. So for me in my work, we want to be talking with people when they first come into our organization, the manner in which, like, the institutions that they've been in relationship with up to this point have treated them and what that's been like, because those things will overflow into how they work with us and how they see us. So, and that's about consent, right? Like, I think for many of us, we all live in these systems where we aren't asked, we don't consent to be in them, right? We don't get a say in what they look like and how we show up in them and how we're treated in them. So we want to always start from that place of transparency, talking to people about what we're doing it and why, what guides that, what informs us. And then people being able to say, I'm good with that, or I'm not. Like, I'm not okay. I don't consent to being involved in that. And that requires, like, a lot of awareness as practitioners and challenging some of the things in the restorative justice field that are assumed, right? Like, there's some things about the restorative justice practice that even if we believe in it, we still need to be getting consent. Like, we still need to be talking about it. We still need to be ensuring that what we want and value and believe in is actually in line with what other people want, value, and believe in. We need to be in relationship with that. So I think for us, we've really slowed down our practice. We're working to challenge our own assumptions and worldviews. We're working to ensure that our processes are welcoming and fair and accessible to very different groups, and especially socially targeted groups in our community. And then, of course, we work from a victim-centered lens. And for us, that's been really, really important as well, to ensuring that when victims come into our process that, they have a lot of, voice and choice and control. That doesn't mean they control the process, but in terms of their participation, they have a whole bunch of say, and that we're working from a trauma-informed lens. And I just feel like all of these things they overlap, right? And people ask, like, what does restorative justice mean to me? It's not just a practice, like, it's for me, it's about being congruent with values and the way I want to be in the world, and having that reflected in the way that I interact with our staff, our volunteers, our clients, that this is all sort of interwoven, and it's part of a worldview. Yeah.